Hello, welcome to the Narcissism Survival Kit. This is the video that goes on with the ebook. If you're watching this, then it is highly likely that recently you've come out of an abusive, narcissistic relationship. So I'm going to go through 8 things here that's going to be helpful to you in what is going to be a fairly difficult time of your life. Perhaps one of the most difficult times of your life, but it can also be a really good opportunity to learn more about yourself, about your history, about who you are as a person, and about human nature in general. So as painful as it is, as confusing as it is, it can also be a really awesome opportunity to develop, learn and grow as a human being. You're not on your own. I went through this process and I've spoken to a ton of people, probably hundreds of people who've been through exactly the same process as well. So the first thing I'm going to advise you to do, the first thing of the 8 things I'm going to advise you to do, is to learn to call abuse, abuse. Some of us, who are the types of people who tend to attract narcissistic abuse, have difficulty with simply calling abuse what it is, which is abuse. The exercise I would recommend you doing is that you sit down and you write down a list of all the not so nice things that this person did or said that made you feel bad. Now, for you to then translate from them doing something that was not so nice that made you feel bad, you might find that a bit difficult to actually say, well, that's abuse. But the thing is, it is abusive to make another person in a relationship feel bad, and it is literally an abuse of the implicit doctrines by which a relationship is built to abuse somebody else's affection or somebody else's good nature. That is literally what abuse is. It doesn't necessarily mean being tied up in the cellar and having your toenails pulled out. The second thing that you need to establish very quickly is that you must go into either very diminished contact, if there are children involved where you can't escape being in contact with this person, or absolutely no contact whatsoever. This is a very simple rule. There are no ifs, ands or buts with this. It's very, very straightforward. Contact with your ex, if they're a narcissistically abusive person, is poisonous to you. The less contact you have, the less poison you will ingest, effectively, if we stretch this metaphor. If you have to, meaning there are kids involved, there is no other situation in which you're forced to be in contact with a narcissistically abusive person, maybe at work, then you got some trials ahead of you, because you have to have very, very small and highly boundaried contact, and that's a whole different skill set in itself that I'm not going to get into here. Other than that, just no contact. You don't speak to them, you don't text them, you don't email them, and you don't encourage them texting or emailing you. If they do attempt to text or email you or contact you, you apply the grey rock or grey stone technique. If you're not sure what that is, look it up on the Spartan Life Coach YouTube channel, which is free. Tons of free videos there. Step number 3, do a little sanity check with yourself. At this point, you need to give up on the denial that you've been living in. We all lived in denial. If we were in a relationship with a narcissistically abusive person for a period of time, then we lived in denial, and denial is a skill set that we have, therefore. So you need to do a little sanity check. You need to establish very clearly, the first boundary you need to start setting is with yourself, and the first boundary you should set is to say, look, this person is sick. Whether it's called psychopathy, narcissism, borderline, histrionic, cluster B, it doesn't matter. They're sick. They're abusive. Contact with them hurts. And therefore the relationship is sick and abusive, and it's as simple as that. There's no excuses that should be made for that. You can walk away from that. Step number 4, you need to realize that you're not you right now. You've been emotionally dysregulated. You probably have something called complex PTSD. If you're not familiar with the term, then maybe look it up on Google or go and search the Spartan Life Coach YouTube videos for videos about that. You're not yourself right now if you've just come out of a relationship with a narcissist. Your adrenaline levels will be spiking all the time. You'll have strange and paranoid thoughts. You'll have a very strong desire to change your entire life and run away somewhere. Resist it. Keep still, keep calm, stay focused. And if you need help, then ask for it. There's a lot of support that you can get out there if you need it. So you're not you right now. People in bad states make bad decisions. Don't make any major life decisions for the next few months. Step number 5. I came up with 3 S's. Here's my 3 S's. Seek stability, support and sanity. So your life, you should, if you're not usually a very disciplined person, just set out some discipline in your life. Eat regularly, exercise regularly, go to bed regularly, be as stable as you possibly can, and really create like a regular pattern in your daily life. It will help to soothe you and calm you, which is what you need right now. Support. Being with a narcissist is a really weirdly isolating and quite shameful experience. Your tendency is going to want to remain in isolation, like a little animal that's been wounded and wants to go and hide in a cave and lick its wounds. Don't do that. Reach out. Do try and get support from people. When you get support, it must be from people who are specialists in narcissistic abuse. Don't try and seek support from people who don't understand narcissism. It will make you worse. So the therapist you speak to, the coach, the counselor you speak to, must have some expertise, particularly in narcissistic victim syndrome. Or you can go on the forums and talk to people who are also the victims of narcissistic abuse, but keep your guard up. There's a lot of crazy people out there. So I'm telling you to seek support, but be wise, be cunning in the support and advice that you seek. And then the third thing is sanity. Everything in your life right now should move towards sanity. So you keep asking yourself the question, if I do this, is it going to make me feel more sane? If I do that, is it going to bring me closer to sanity or further away from sanity? That means, kids, for the time being, you all shouldn't be drinking, taking drugs, going out and partying. You should probably be just calming everything right down and be as sane as you can. Look after your body, look after your mind, stay healthy. Number 6, realize this. You've been isolated in a one-man or one-woman cult for a long time. You might be a bit odd. So that means that social contact can be difficult. You might be a bit strange. I said before, you're not you. That will actually manifest as you being a little bit weird. Account for that. You've been inside of a cult. You've been brainwashed. You've been in a cult for however long, and these people, they like to isolate their victims as much as possible. So you're going to be a bit weird. You're going to have a bit of them will have rubbed off on you. Account for that. So when you're speaking to people, try and be self-aware. Try and be compassionate to the needs of the other person as well. You're in a lot of pain, so you want help and support, but stay compassionate and just be aware of how you're coming across to people. You know what your intent is. You know you're a good person. May that be expressed plainly and clearly in thought, word and deed. Number 7, there's going to be grief and there's going to be sadness. There's going to be a lot of icky stuff coming out. If you're the type of person, we usually call them people pleaser or a codependent like myself, who ends up in a narcissistically abusive relationship, you might be emotophobic, meaning you're fearful of intense emotions, either in yourself or in others. That has been leveraged against you for the entire time that you're in this relationship, and that's what got you into it. That's what got you stuck there. Fear of emotion in others and in yourself. Now you're going to face it. You ain't got a choice on this one. There will be grief. There will be sadness. You'll be numb at times. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to feel sad. And allow yourself to process the anger when it eventually comes. The anger is a good thing. Numbness is not great. That's dissociation that you've gone into. Allow yourself to be sad, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to grieve. Go and study grieving and what it is to actually process emotion and feel negative emotion and grieve. It won't kill you. It'll actually make you a more mature, more sane person. You'll have a lot more mental clarity afterwards, at least I found I did. And then one day the anger will come. And then that's the next hurdle you're going to have to get over. This context is a positive emotion. It's a social taboo to feel angry, but you need to learn how to express it in a boundaried and safe way. If you don't keep expressing it, you can expect depression, diminished sex drive, diminished motivation for life, and diminished critical faculties as well. So you must learn to engage with and get comfortable with your own anger, which is righteous, it's yours, it's permitted, it's a good thing. Number 8 is to acknowledge that it's time for you to rebuild from the bottom up. There were cracks in your foundations, in the same way there were cracks in my foundations, the cracks in the foundation of everybody who suffered narcissistic abuse. It's like the vampire legends of old. The vampire can't come into your house unless you invite him in. So I invited a vampire in, you've invited a vampire in. That means that there's a crack in the foundation. There were problems there, latent, that you weren't aware of, that you're in denial about before that narcissist ever came into your life. There's 3 things that you should maybe do around this subject for number 8 in terms of rebuilding your foundations. Acknowledge that you had some trauma in your formative years, either in your youth is most likely between the ages of 0 and 12. Sometimes it's enough to get trauma in adolescence, but it's usually before the age of 12. That it's now time for you to develop a whole new philosophy of life with whole new boundaries and a new way of approaching people, and that you understand and learn what it is to become more assertive and to apply boundaries with people and to actually have a belief system and a philosophy for handling abusive types of people. Because this isn't over, unfortunately. If you don't resolve these issues, you could very well end up back in love with a narcissistically abusive personality type again. And also just in your daily life, you are going to come into contact with these kinds of people again and again. So number 8 is it's time to rebuild those foundations and work from the bottom up. It's a lot of work, it's going to be painful, but on the other side of it, a whole new life awaits you that's a much healthier, much happier, much fuller life. I guarantee it. Okay, thanks for your time and your attention. I hope that was helpful for you, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.